August 2nd at 2:35 a.m. We're going to start with roll call. Raymond Camina.
Present.
Rachel Garcia. Judith Gutierrez.
Present.
Bethany Luna has requested to have an excused absence. A motion.
I move that we excuse them.
We have a second.
Second motion.
Okay, so we have excused absence. Janie Martinez. Marisa Ramirez.
Present.
Mónica Salazar, present. Rebecca Sepulveda,
Present.
and Alejandro Villarreal. Okay. Let's, does anybody have any questions regarding the minutes?
These were the minutes for May the 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
Here's July.
And then July the 5th.
And July the 5th.
No, these are the ones for July 5th.
July, yeah.
Huh?
Just
This is July.
This is July?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it says, but it says minutes for May 3rd.
Oh, yeah. Typo.
Well, I mean, I'm confused, have one date here and then right there it says for that.
No, you're right.
No, that's
It was,
not, no. That's that you move to approve those minutes.
At the
From
July
so
5th
in
meeting.
June-
on the
They're
5th.
referencing the
Yes.
approval.
In June, we approved the May minutes.
Well, there was no June meeting because there was no quorum. So
Oh.
at the July 5th meeting, we
Right.
approved the May 3rd minutes.
So it would, usually would say minutes for June.
It's like a subhead. Or it's an item.
It's
in
kind of
the agenda.
confusing, to be quite honest, because, you see, okay, this is for the July 5th, and it says minutes for May the 3rd that were
No,
approved.
but
Yeah, I get you, I
Oh.
understand, I'm not, but it's a bit confusing as far as I'm concerned.
Would you prefer if we put approval of minutes for?
Right,
Probably.
because that would help out.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
Now that I move to approve the minutes for July, the July 5th meeting, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, that's my motion.
I second it.
Okay, now that's-
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to public comments. We don't have any today. So let's move on to the second item, review of financial statements.
The report is on page 4.
Page 4.
And if you have any questions, we're getting closer to the end of the fiscal year. And we are making sure that all the projects that we had for this current fiscal year, that they're completed and that we make the best use of the resources that we currently have for this fiscal year.
So what happens like when you spend 100, like here under, I guess it's that the sister cities, a certain amount of money was budgeted and the percentage that was spent is 121%.
I think it's a positive.
So Sister Cities Festival, what you're seeing is revenues. So
Oh,
the top
okay.
part is revenues.
Okay, so that's correct. It was
So
just-
that's the sponsorships. So we got $9,700
We all
in
did much better
sponsorships.
last year. Great.
So you budgeted for the projections,
Was
the
eight.
revenue was 8,000
And we
and you
exceeded.
exceeded it by
Yes.
$1,700 according
Yes.
to this, okay.
Do you have any other questions on the financial reports?
I was gonna ask with the hotel, are we there yet or not?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Is this part of the financial report?
Yes.
Is there any reason why the projections are all from October through September, they're all $312,828? All down the line, and those are the projections. Is there a reason for those numbers?
We provide our projections to finance, and then finance kind of does like a blank monthly amount based on the projection that we give for the year. So what we provide is the projection for the whole year, and they just enter everything in,
Like an average?
like an
The
average.
system automatically breaks down.
Uh-huh.
I
But
never
we-
noticed that, and now I was looking at, who did I talk to? I said, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was reading it. I'm like, okay, after I said my prayers.
So you woke up at 4?
But anyway, this was something that I said, well, I
Yeah.
never noticed it before, and I thought I'd ask why.
We do provide the projection on an annual basis, so we do, and we do have internally, at CVB, we do have our projection monthly. So we more or less know which ones are our top months and which ones are our low months. And so we do have that information, and then we provide finance with the annual.
I thought that you used, for the month, at the year before, their numbers to project by
Yes.
month. I don't know, that's the way that I was used to reading those
We
hotel.
have that internally. This is a report from like the system. But internally, we do have a report where we see on a monthly basis.
Well, then let me ask you the question. You get the total and then you work backwards and then you say, say, we're gonna project it, we're gonna bring in 3.753994. Is that the number that you use to be able to derive these numbers?
To project the ones that we have?
No, these. Well,
Yes.
the ones that you
For the ones
have
that
here for
this-
the
For
report.
the ones that the system has, yes. So we provide, but to get to the 3,700,000,
Yes.
we did our work of doing monthly, different amounts per month.
Higher
so-
months, lower months, depending on
Exactly,
the-
depending on as you said, depending on the numbers
season.
for the previous year, all that. That helped us calculate the total. Once it goes into the system just does the average. But in order for us to get to this annual, we did our homework of looking at every month and looking at the previous years, that same month in the previous years.
Because what I see is this 3.7 million is lower than the 1, 2, 3, 4 years before.
Yes, and the reason why we gave a projection that's lower is because of the market situation. So we saw that the dollar, the exchange rate of the dollar was going up, so that doesn't help our market. And we saw that the elections this year in Mexico were gonna affect our market. So we saw the different things, and we did a projection of having either flat growth or maybe 1 or 2% down in these couple of years because of that situation.
Could we include your projections in this report? I think
That's
this
what I would
number-
like to see.
Yeah.
Because this number is it's very broad, it's just an average from a system.
What I don't like is for it to be, for us to think, and look at these projections and have the same number from the beginning of the fiscal year to the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah,
And it's.
we definitely can include our numbers here so that you have, and what we see are actual numbers and not just the average that the system throws. So yeah, we can definitely do that.
Yeah, I think that's just gonna give us a better understanding
Mhm.
from the experts to know what's happening.
Compared to the
So,
actuals.
so when you look
To
at
the
your
projections.
projections to the actuals based on this graph that we provided, you're comparing this 312, this number is 3.128,280,000. And you compare the projections to the actuals, and it's 3.162, so it's, according to this, we're 101%,
But it's not true.
but it's not true.
It's yeah, compared to if we compare it to the numbers that we have,
That's
That
what
would
I
be
wanna say, we're
realistic.
looking at something that is really not, it's,
yeah, no, we can.
I don't wanna
we
say
can-
fake news, but, fake numbers, I mean, it's
Yeah, we are above our projection, but you're right, it's not our projection, it's just the average projection of the system. So what we'll do is we'll bring our numbers so that you can see the projection versus what we really think that every month should be. And so, for example, July, we expected July to be a high month. December, things like that, where you will see what we calculated based on previous years and what we know that's coming. So, no, we can definitely update.
Because it looks nice, you project 312, and of course you see 335, and all of those keep adding up, 312, 406. On the other side of
Yeah.
the actuals are coming in,
Mhm.
and we're getting projections of an average according to what the total down here
Mhm.
is, so, you know,
Yeah.
I just, you know.
No, that, whatever.
That's an observation on my part.
And we run this report from the system, so we hadn't, we don't give you a different report for some reason. It's just, we run it from the system and we
Right.
update the information from the system. But you're right, it would be easier for everybody to see what we projected if it has our projection numbers and not just.
Yeah, how
what
are we
the average
doing really
is.
on your projections? I mean,
Only
that's,
because
Yeah.
the year-to-date is meaningless.
It
unless
is.
Unless you have the real
you have the
projection.
real numbers, right.
I mean, you know,
Yeah.
and so, are we doing better? You know, that would be the question, are we not doing as well?
Yeah,
And I looked at the actuals for 14, 15, 16, and 17, and then your projection here is lower.
mhm.
Keeps going down.
And we projected a 1% decline for the next couple of years because of that situation. We don't know how the Mexican market is gonna react to the new president. We don't know how the exchange rate, a lot of people thought that the exchange rate was gonna skyrocket. It was at 20 before the election.
And it stayed the same, didn't it?
It actually went down, but it all depended on who was gonna win. If another party won, everybody was expecting it to skyrocket. So we analyzed all those different elements to work on our projection. And I can show you the projection that we have for the following next 2 or 3 years, which we already do have that.
Okay, well, that would be helpful, I guess,
Mhm.
as far as I'm concerned, I don't know
No,
about
yeah.
anybody else.
I agree.
If it
Great
doesn't-
point.
Now, I'm guessing the July numbers are not
No.
fully in.
Remember, it's everything a month after, so,
Okay.
yeah, this is
So
everything.
you expect this number to go up, right?
Oh, yeah. No, this is just a preliminary. This is, you never see, whenever we come to the meetings, you never see the previous month.
No.
It takes another month. But July was,
I used to see
I
that
mean-
all the time in our budget.
Yeah.
So.
July, when, we expect July to come out really, really good. Between Pony and everything that was happening, sister cities, we had groups that were calling us. We had a big conference, international conference, people from Africa, people from the UK were here. So we had several things going on in July that will result in a very high occupancy.
So, I mean, we don't only depend on the Mexican market to be able, because, and let's be honest, I mean, if you're a Mexican coming over here, you go and you get your, you know, your tax. Pardon?
Yeah, the taxes are way.
Yeah,
well,
you come, and you go and you file that,
for sales
But that's
tax.
only for the goods, it's not
That's
for the
sales
hotel.
tax.
It's for
Oh,
like
okay.
shopping. going
Yes,
to the
so,
mall.
and there's a specific list of what they can ask for rebates.
okay.
It's not everything that they bought, but there's a list of things that they can put in the manifiesto. The hotel tax is not affected by that.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to see what,
Yeah, no, that's definitely something we can do, and we can show that in the
and it's
next.
very, very, very important to keep those conferences and all of those coming in, because
Mhm.
basically, I mean, they add to our economy with those large groups, you know, that go to our restaurants and, you know, the hotels and, you know, to our shops and, you know.
And that's definitely something that we want to keep, and that's what we're working towards. August is a very heavy month in terms of traveling now for the sales team. So we're always looking, and not necessarily Mexico, we're always looking, August, we're traveling in Texas and in the US to go seek groups for conventions. But yeah, no, definitely we're.
Do you know the average day for the people from Mexico that come here shopping?
It's usually 1 or 2 nights that they stay. And so we see the peaks, definitely conventions and sports tournaments bring the groups longer. So for example, Pony League, they were here for the whole week. The YASA conference, they were here for 4 or 5 days. even sister cities groups were here for 4 or 5 days. So we definitely know that groups bring, the length of the stay is longer.
93 days.
Mexican travelers are higher in quantity. So even though they won't stay here for a week, there's more
Of them. Yeah.
that make
And they come more often during the year.
Because the conference may come once a year, and we get that big chunk in that once. Mexican traveler, they're here, if they're from Monterrey or Coahuila, they're here maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a year.
I guess I've heard during the time that I've been here, what we can do to attract those Mexican tourists, to stay here for longer than 1 night, 2 nights, what will it take, for them to do that? And I don't know if you all have the answer, but we have been talking about that for as long as I've been here, what can we do to?
Well, a lot of it's increased for the best. It's quite costly for them to stay 4 or 5 nights. And what they can, usually it's by what, 2 nights the
2
average?
nights. What we do, we identify the same issue. So what we're doing is making sure that the Mexican traveler knows what other things they can do during their stay. Because they were very shopping oriented, and so we want to make sure that they know that we have attractions, that we have museums, that we have family fun. And so we've been in our last campaign, especially Semana Santa and Christmas and the summer campaign, where we've been very focused on telling people, even our current campaign says it, fui por el vestido, me quedé toda la Semana Santa. Fui por la computadora, me quedé todo el fin de semana. Fui por esto, me quedé por esto. Because we want to make sure that they understand, okay, you came to buy this, but we have so many things that you can do during your stay. Decos, with the different attractions, museums. So we're in that, we're trying to tackle that issue with our campaign and our...
Yeah, because and just getting back to what you were saying, but they do have money to travel San Antonio, Austin, that, they go to the South Padre Island, they go to McAllen, but they stay longer there, they make it a vacation, and here it's not that way. That is the point that I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
I know that
So I think we get a lot of the
Short-term
the
travel.
short-term traveler or the middle class, or the ones you're speaking of are a little more wealthy people that'll take that much longer.
It has to do with the attractions also, with them not
Yes,
knowing
that's right.
exactly what there's to do. Because they go, the same thing happens to McAllen, for example, they go in and out. But if they go to the island, they stay longer. If they go to San Antonio, they stay a little bit longer. If they go to Austin, they stay a little bit longer. So we need to keep working on making sure that they know what we have to offer so that they can plan a longer trip. And so part of it is the app, part of it is just the communication that we're sending in Monterrey saying, me fui por el vestido y me quedé toda la Semana Santa, because there's so many things to do in Laredo. So yeah, no, definitely we agree with that, and we're working towards that. And I don't know if we brought any ads lately.
I didn't bring them. I picked up one stack and it was just the sister cities
But
results.
we'll,
I forgot another stack. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about
My
it.
first meeting here.
We'll bring you some examples of what we're doing in our ads in Monterrey, so that you can see a little bit of what we're,
I think we're always going to lose out on a certain type of visitor, because they do want the Schlitterbahn, they want the Fiesta Texas, they want the IKEAs, they want the higher end stores. But I think we're doing a really good job in maintaining those that are here, that are on a maybe tighter budget, that are coming smaller, that are more shopping, but they're shopping a little longer because of the other extra amenities that are around here. But the ones that are the long-term family, because I do have family in Mexico, they do go to the island, they do go to Corpus, they're like, ay no, queremos la playa, queremos esto, queremos lo otro. But they'll do a little bit here, but their vacation is gonna be out of Laredo.
Because there are more attractions.
This is not
But
a
they're
vacation
bigger.
destination, I guess,
Right,
what I
yeah.
hear you saying.
and that's what we want to change, because I do think that we have a possibility for at least a longer stay. It
Yeah.
might not be a week stay, but we have a possibility for a longer stay.
Instead of an average of 2 nights, maybe.
2 nights, I think they'll
three.
be another night, yeah.
What we see is that people going towards San Antonio, Dallas, Austin, what they do is they stay here, they go, they stay over there. When they come back, they stay here, and then they leave.
Those are your 2 nights.
So we wanna increase that by saying, okay, we might not have the Six Flags, but we have affordable, available attractions that you're not gonna have to spend $100 per kid to be part of something. You won't have to spend $100 on a ticket to go see a game when you can come here and spend maybe $10, $20 with food and everything, and watch your favorite team from back home in a completely different setting. So that's where we're focusing.
Thank you very much for that.
I found that when I went to that one motel group meeting, that my eyes were opened about their perception of what we're doing here and our visitors.
What's that?
And they say that their travelers are business people during the week, not vacationers, not families or shoppers. And so what we're trying to attract are people who are going to stay and shop or come to a conference. But I think it would be good to continue to educate us, because I think that's where we can help you if we're more educated on what our responsibilities are. But to see the better picture of who are our visitors. How many of the people who are paying these taxes and supporting our efforts, how many are from Mexico and how many are from the U.S.?
Yeah, that would
really
be
hard to tell you.
That's very, there's no data that we can give you that's completely accurate, actual numbers. What we do have is a report that the Office of the Governor did, and they studied different destinations, including Laredo, that gives us, it's a market study, and it gives us a better idea of the make of our traveler, of the composition of our market. So we can share that with you. In terms of how many come from Mexico, how many come from business, that is something that there's no way of knowing for certain. It's not something that we have the numbers or the hotels have the numbers, because they know what groups they have.
Well, the hotels have all the credit card information, right? And so doesn't that show you where they're from?
Not only that, I mean, when they check in, I mean, they have all those logs, you know, it's,
Yeah, but not all the hotels share that
We're
information.
not willing to divulge
Well,
that information.
what I'm saying, work with them so they can give you numbers. You don't want them to give you, all these, all this data, just numbers. And they can.
We can try to get that.
That's what I'm hearing from
the hotels.
Becky.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
It might be easier with an independent hotel. We've asked other properties in the past, and they're very particular with their information on how they.
It's the hotels group the markets by bar, by packages, by, we categorize them a little bit different rather than saying where they're coming from. So if it's a package, or it's, bar is best available rate, which is somebody who just calls and wants to, stay at the hotel. So that's how we break out the market segments within a hotel. But as far as where are all these people coming from, there is some work on trying to do the advertising and hit certain areas, but like as far as the hotel, La Posada, we focus to try to get Monterrey people within Mexico, and I don't know if La Posada is not their point of, they want to cross the border and they want to go further north, or they want to go to a brand like Eileen was saying, that we need, a brand for the hotel. A lot of people from Mexico rather goes, oh no, I'm going to go stay at a Hilton, I'm going to go stay at a Marriott. because those are familiar grounds, you know, worldwide.
And their points.
And their points and everything like that, but it is a little difficult to say where they're coming from. Now, when you say credit cards is not gonna tell you where they're from, because a credit card can be coming from an outside of another state's, you know, the banking
Yeah.
system, so that's not gonna be a good origin, but it has to be where they're coming from, based on what the reservation has. That's where they're gonna say, this is where I'm from, you know. But we don't do a lot of that, but we try to do that up to a certain point, so that our advertising missions go based on that, you know.
And what, I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say something, just an example, Judy and Rebecca, that right now we're doing a room count for how many rooms the people for the pony
Yes.
occupy, and we're having problems with that. So sometimes the general manager will not give us information, or the director of sales. So we have issues of them just reporting how many room nights they have for that particular conference. So is this just room nights, then can you imagine them giving us either credit card information, they're gonna have their
I
staff?
don't think credit card information.
Yeah,
No,
not
just
do that.
statistics based on.
So much of
What we can do is,
that.
we can show you the report that we have, and we can go from there. If the report provides information maybe that you're looking for, or if we need to go further in, because the report is very
I mean,
complete.
it's the idea that we, you know, the hotels here in Laredo need to know that we're trying to help them. You know, this is a tool that we may be able to use, you know, because, I mean, you use percentages and you say, where's our market? You know, is it 50-50, is it 60-40, is it, you know, and so they may be able to use that as a tool for advertisement, you know, to help.
Mhm.
And I think that that's all what Becky is saying, and I agree with her, you know, that this is something that would be something that could help
Yeah.
them, because like she says, it was an eye-opener for her. She was there, and, you know, so when I hear that, I said, you know, there's something here that maybe we need to,
And they know we're here to help them. I think that the situation there, they were not.
Yeah, they were focused on the
On
tax
the
and the
tax.
increase of the tax.
But they know we're here to help them. They know that we're, because they would say, but thank you for everything that you do.
Right.
But we want this, but thank you for everything they do. So
And they
there's-
mentioned, you know, thank you for sending us the pony business and
Mhm.
whatever, right, in the sister cities, but, you know, they were saying, like, you have a wrong perception of, of visitors. The visitors that come to our hotels are business travelers. And so.
I wonder what percentage of that. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
why-
curious.
We can, so
Yeah.
we can, next meeting, I can show you the report and we can go from there. That's the report that the Office of the Governor does with different cities. And so we participated in that report, and it has given us a better idea of who, for how long, and when they stay. Based on that, I can tell you it's 2-3 nights. And they travel by car, and they come in families, and they have this demographic, because it's all based on the study. So we can share that with you, and based on that, we can go from there, if there's anything else that needs to be.
I think there's always room for growth when people say, well, our traveler is only business. So then that just opens the doors much wider to go forward on getting the non-business traveler. You know, get the person who's going to go out and have a shopping or a party or something like that. And it's sad that they think that way, because that's not really the only business that we're getting. We're getting all types of business in Laredo. So, you know, we get business travelers and we get weekend people. So it just depends on the events and so forth. So,
But we're just getting the short-term traveler, not the one that stays here for the week.
There's
That's
different
corporate
markets.
business.
But corporate business.
90%, or I would say 95% of most of the hotels, Monday through Thursday, it's all corporate business.
Exactly.
See,
So
then
we
you
get-
got percentages.
And those are
there that we-
contracts.
But that's us, it's
Yeah.
it's not a hard number.
It's not a hard
what
number.
we think.
Because
It's
we
our-
talk to the hotels.
The
Exactly.
hoteliers will tell us that they have contracts.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's
And
their
that's us,
saving.
when we
Yes.
try to book a hotel for a group, a lot of times when they tell us, oh, Laredo has 4,000 rooms, you should have an easy time booking a group for Sunday through Friday. We have issues because the hotels have their contracts with certain corporations, certain
And
organizations, government contracts,
Mhm.
and so they already have certain number of rooms committed for that week that they're not gonna give us because they already have a contract. So if it's the weekend, that's easier because most of the travelers, most of the contracts come during the week. So the number that Juan says is not because we have an actual number. That's our perception of the market, because when we have to put a group in the hotels, we hear that, you know what, I don't have that many rooms because I have a contract. Or I can give you this amount of rooms, but if my National Guard or my corporate people call me in, I'm gonna have to take some rooms from there. So that's what we see on the making of our market. So on those contracts, we don't have a lot of control. We have control on a certain amount of control on the other visitors, on the non-corporate, the non-business type of visitors.
And so that's where all of this gets a little bit,
Tangled up.
yeah, because, we're trying to figure out, just based on what we're hearing here, is what percentage of the business is coming from Mexico? Or the shopper that stays here one day, or that they're going through Laredo in transit to go to, points further north. And, how many of the hotel rooms are for corporate, but.
But at the end of the day, I think it also has to do with it's true, what is our market, who's coming, but who do we want here, for example, during the weekends? During the weekends, they lose those corporate, so we need to fill out those rooms too. And who's our market, who's gonna bring those rooms, and that's, for what we see, that has been in the last probably 5-6 years, Mexico. From the time that the market changed, because before we had a lot of people coming from outside, from in the US. When the market changed, we saw that Mexico was the one filling out that void and bringing more people than what we saw from the other markets.
Like, we used to get a lot of tours.
Yeah.
Years back, a lot
Yeah.
of tours.
Oh, I know, it's still, oh my
They would all go into Mexico and do all their shopping, go downtown Laredo, go do their shopping, and now you don't see that
Yeah,
because.
we see a number decreasing
It just-
in the actuals here. So in order for us to bring it up, we need to set the foundation of attractions. Because then now we're like San Antonio, all these other cities are just growing and expanding their attractions. I think we need to start doing the same, to start bringing in more visitors to stay longer nights. Just
Yeah.
really.
say.
And in a lot of cases, we don't have 100% control on the
Yeah.
attractions. We try to incentivize people creating attractions, but we don't have the bandwidth, the funds, the control over
Yeah.
like, the attractions and what they do.
Attractions. There's not as many as when you compare us like to San Antonio,
And
to Austin,
it's a
to
different market,
Houston,
but
Corpus,
compared to
We don't
maybe
have direct
Corpus,
flights.
McAllen,
We don't have direct
Valley.
flights to Mexico.
It's harder.
other-
So there's
a lot
different
of
things,
factors.
but we definitely strive to get, and I think the example that we're seeing is we have become, for different reasons, the go-to destination for the people that used to go to the valley.
Yeah.
And now they have moved to coming in here. And so we see that to the point where some of the destinations in the valley have said, you know what, let me go to a different market, because the Monterrey market is not necessarily responding anymore for different reasons. So we've seen that, and so we keep working with the market, showing them that we have a genuine interest in what they have to say and what they're looking for. And we keep working with that. And I think that's a sign of how we've been growing a specific market, that maybe it's not the Monday through Friday market, or it's not the 5-day market, but it is the weekender, it's the getaway, that's where I do my shopping. I might go somewhere else because the kids want to go Six Flags, but I'll come back to Laredo and do my shopping. And I'll stay there and I'll find whatever I want to do because it's easier, it's more convenient. So we're never going to compare ourselves. We're never going to get to where
Yeah.
San Antonio or Austin is, or Dallas.
Don't ever
Or
say
Houston.
never, my dear.
Well,
So-
Never
It's a
tell.
All we have is time and time.
Yeah.
That's true. But they're a different tier market. And so we do look at other markets that are in our tier and say, what do we
Lack here.
lack here and what can we offer that's different? So we might not have certain things, but we have other things that makes us unique. And so we focus on that more than we focus on what we don't have. We focus on what we do have. So things like tecos and the fact that sultanes can come here, or the team from the zaraperos, they can come here and people actually follow their team. And that's maybe 2 days, 3 days that they can follow their team, they can go shopping, but it's an attraction that they feel like they're supporting their team in Laredo, and that has become a different type of trip because now families can come together, and it's not just the shopping, but it's the shopping and the attraction. So that means maybe an additional night. It means more business for.
And it's affordability for families also.
Exactly.
I mean, you talk about, you know, the everybody's on a budget. I mean, and if you have a family of 4, let's say, parents and then 2 kids, I mean, then, you know, you have to figure, you know, how much it's gonna cost you to, you know, for a hotel and food and everything, so. And I think that's a good market, you know, what you're saying about the tecos and all that, you know, it does attract a lot of people that you wouldn't usually have here because they do follow their teams. I mean, you see it at the national level. I mean, everybody, like from here, I mean, everybody goes to see the Dallas Cowboys when they're, I mean, so you talk about something that's, you know, something that happens.
And
So
plus,
that's good.
for example, we're attracting the family that might not be able to travel to watch a Rangers game because they can't afford it. But they can come to Laredo, watch a Tecos game, go shopping with the same money that it would take them to just go watch a game and come back. Maybe they could stay an additional night. So
Yes.
it's affordability. It's easier for families to travel here. We might not get the people, and we know, for example, we're not going to get the people that fly directly to Houston and from Monterrey or Mexico. That's a different target market. Where do we get the people that grab their car and say, let's go for a weekend out, and they're
Well,
choosing.
yeah, because logistically, I mean, you know, we're closer to Monterrey than we are to San Antonio. Let's face it, I mean, it's, you know.
And you save, the message that we're always giving them is, you save on your gas, you save on time. The 2.5, 3 hours that you could spend 6 hours that you could spend back and forth. 6 hours more that you can be doing something with your family. You can be shopping at the outlets. You can be doing so many things.
Yeah.
So that's the message that we keep giving. One of the things that I would invite you this October, we're not traveling to Monterrey, but we're bringing the media and the travel agents here. So I would invite you to participate with us in that familiarization tour, so that you can see and you can hear the message that we're giving to the Monterrey media, the travel agent, and you can also hear from them what they have to say about Laredo, about the destination.
Good, okay, sure, just keep us informed
Yeah.
and remind us, because I think
Yes.
that's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
coming closer to October, I'll give you the dates, and that way you can schedule it and join us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
It was a nice discussion.
And we always take a lot of notes, and we always hear what you have to say. And it's always very helpful for us, so we appreciate it.
So let's move on to the July activity reports. We're going to start with Eileen Ramos, our director.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. My report is on page 6. And this was a very busy month, so you'll hear from the different staff what we had. But in a nutshell, we had Pony League, we had ISED, we had Sister Cities, we have travel for the Asociación de Hexagonales. We had, we co-hosted one of the activities for a national lawyers conference in Nuevo Laredo. We hosted them for a tour. And so we had different activities during the month that you'll hear from the staff in the different reports. But it was definitely a busy July.
Madam President, I would like everybody to stand up and give a CDB standing ovation for an excellent job for Sister City. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm speaking as a Sister City participant.
Thank you.
I've been involved the last 10 years, and I don't know how you've been able to raise that bar year after year after year. You all do a fantastic job.
Thank you.
And I agree.
For the record, it's just, Michelle Garcia just came in.
We appreciate it. It's an event that we feel very comfortable with, and we are always looking to get better every year. And so we're really
We've
happy
got,
that.
every year we get compliments and compliments, either at the booth or at the store. You all do a great job, and how you're able to keep that bar up and going up and up and up is beyond me, because by 3, 4 o'clock, I'm already pooped out. You guys are just like energized bunnies. Choo, 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 choo. You know.
We found a better way this year so that we wouldn't be.
You had a place, right?
No, we actually did shifts in the supervisors so that we could have somebody there the whole
Well,
time.
it shows, and
Yeah.
I mean, all the comments we got, this guy's so well organized, the fantastic shows, like unbelievable. They're just overflowing the
The vendors
compliments.
were great,
That's great.
great product, everything was great.
Yeah.
We have new vendors this year, so you might have seen some changes that in the previous years we had vendors that had 3, 4 booths, and they're really good vendors. We didn't want to lose them, but we weren't able to bring new vendors because we were at max capacity. So what we did is we brought down some vendors that had 3, 4 booths to 2. The maximum was 2, but that allowed us to get new vendors.
And I think that helped overall, because the variety, it just wasn't like, it's just all of a sudden you see vendors with 1 or 2 technology, a huge one, you know. It was more consistent. It was more like a festival, just where everybody was pretty much almost equal.
Yeah.
It felt like that.
So that was something that we saw that was really.
And then you were able to to maneuver your way in and out of, you know, all of these, because there were the different sections, you know, that you would go down one aisle and, you know, you could see all these vendors. And you could see where the activity was, because they tended to have more people.
Yeah.
More congested.
Yes.
But yeah, but even then, I mean, you were able to move along. I mean, it's just, there were just a lot of people. And like I said, I went Saturday afternoon and then Sunday afternoon, and so there was a lot of people there.
Maybe I missed it, but did we have like something to advertise the outlets in?
Yes,
Sister
and
City?
they did great. So that's a great.
Yeah, they were giving a lot of free dances.
Yes, that's a
like
great
that.
success story for our sponsors. The outlet had a booth,
Okay.
and they gave a special coupon with a code. And they had around, I don't remember if it was 2,000 to 3,000 people
Okay,
redeeming that coupon.
that's great.
Wow.
Back at
Wow.
That is
So
great.
that was.
See, you can
that
track
was-
all those things.
Yes, and so I asked Erica, and she gave me all the information, and that is a great, but when she told me, because we were having a conversation, and she was like, I asked her, how did it go for you, because it's the first time that they have a booth, and she's like, it went great, and she told me about the coupon, so she sent me the numbers, and it was just amazing to see they were able to actually redeem the coupon, and they saw 2,000 to 3,000 people.
That's great. Everybody
So
wants
They
to
had
it's a
huge lines
great.
because they were giving out their little spinner.
Yeah.
So they would, you know, select spin again or win a little bag. Oh my God, they had like huge one.
Yeah, everybody wants something, if it's a little cha-cha, I mean, you know, it's-
Yeah.
it's true.
They were in the 600.
That's very nice.
We're
Next
opposite.
to, in front of,
Ford,
and the Bucks.
I think that was a great opportunity to promote them. And I'm glad they got so many visitors.
So that's a success story, and that's the reason why our sponsors come back every year, and they're willing to,
They already signed up for next year.
they're willing to do.
I wonder if we can like maybe talk to them and ask them if maybe we can start bringing more an attraction for a family. Like I don't know, maybe like the mall has the Imaginarium. So if we bring in that, we start bringing in more families on the weekend because it's a very nice place to just kind of like spend a day, have lunch. Now with a new pizzeria that just opened and just have a little bit more.
We
of a
have
flow
them
there.
scheduled based on your request, and we have, because of their schedule, we have to push it, but we have them scheduled and confirmed for our September meeting.
Okay.
So the senior VP of marketing and the regional marketing and tourism representatives are gonna be here to meet with us in our September meeting.
Okay.
Because I still think that they're losing a lot of the local market. So
So-
I talk to people, and have you been, to the outlets? No, oh no, it's just too far. Oh no, it's the parking. Oh no, that it's too hot. I said, you're looking for an excuse, yeah.
You gotta get them in your car.
I'll pick
Yeah,
them
bring
up.
them.
I'm gonna buy a little bus.
I walked in the afternoon and I didn't feel it hot. I mean, they have those big, they're called big ass
That's the name
fans.
of it.
What did you say?
For the record, that's what they're called. But it doesn't feel hot. I mean, I just think if they're just, maybe we bring a little bit more of a family attraction into it. You start bringing in more of the locals.
Well, she was doing a lot of activities that are being held regularly. Like they had like bubbles and Legos and crayons and you take the kids movies and it's free.
Where do they have those activities?
They do them in the first floor. Most of them, they have an area in front of
Nike and Under
Nike
Armour.
and Under Armour that has
The shaded canopy.
So you can go in and you can have the movie there. We work with them for Caminata. We did a Caminata movie night, and it's a really nice area because it's shaded. And then some of them they have them upstairs. They have a canopy, and
And they have the first floor and the second floor?
the second floor has a seating.
the ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
So
At the top.
and the second floor has a canopy. So it's in that side of the.
Well, I know where Nike, I've been there.
I was gonna also mention, this is just a suggestion, but we promoted Sister City at our store heavily. And there was a response that I got from the people in Laredo, and it was amazing. When I would tell them about the show, free admission, they would respond, oh, they're gonna stick it to you with parking. I go, no, it's free parking. And I couldn't believe it was over and over and over again. I would explain it, it's free parking, believe me. And I was surprised, and I thought, because maybe the reputation of LEA charging for concert parking has overextended, and I thought maybe suggest maybe free admission, free parking.
Okay.
Because it's amazing that people in Laredo is like,
Yeah.
and I was telling my wife, and my wife said when she taught at United South, especially around graduation, the parents thought they were gonna get charged for parking. And they're carpooling.
I think that they're probably, the misinformation maybe comes from,
The Bucks, right? Because the Bucks started charging, the concert started charging.
they
so
started
now-
charging,
They
for
did such a
the.
good job.
That was like 10 years ago.
I know,
But it just goes to show you, I mean.
Yes.
it's just supposed to show you.
Laredo doesn't like to pay for parking.
The other reason they don't go to
Because they thought, no, we're gonna carpool out, and my wife said, how come? Well, we don't have to pay $15 for parking. My wife says, they're not gonna charge you. So actually, and that's how well they publicized it so much, that it's still, we're reaping the, those.
The negative.
No, we'll add that message for next year.
Free admission, free parking.
Yeah.
I mean, if it brings in another couple hundred people.
By the way, Ray, I love your new ad.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, I
Thank you.
saw it this morning, and it's like, wow, I mean, that's really very.
We have
very-
professional singers from that show.
I know, and it's very, very nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it gives it Mexican flavor, you've got
The
everything
theme, right?
there, the
Yeah.
theme, I mean, it's
Yeah.
very festive.
Cajun has approached us with these professional singers and decided to bite the
Have
bullet.
you all seen the new ad?
That's very nice.
Real nice.
Play it under.
I had another suggestion, and, because I was running the booth, and of course, 6 months ago, I was injured, so now I realize what a handicapped person goes through, because I always felt bad for them, but I never knew the extent until it happened to me. And, thank God, I was only 2-3 months, and thank God I recuperated, but others, that's the way of life. So when I noticed right away those people trying to cross over, I dropped what I was doing and my staff went to go help them. And I mean, some of these elderly ladies, they're trembling, they were scared. And I had suggested maybe we can post some volunteers there at those areas, because a lady with a walker could not go over everything.
Is that
Those big humps.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was
for the
thinking,
tables.
and I had one of my employees just be there for a little while, especially when we had all the people from the I guess elderly daycares.
The daycare centers.
They cannot, a lady cannot go over, or a gentleman cannot go over the walker with that thing, much less a wheelchair.
It's an obstacle.
That was what
As a big
our,
obstacle. And I mean, these
our
guys are
comment for the
trembling.
whole
Yeah, they
weekend.
do.
They were scared they're gonna fall. I said, no, wait, I'm here, I'll help them. And of course, the other people, they're kind of feel pressure.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, why don't we just post volunteers there? 2-hour shifts, 3-hour shifts, just to assist them. Especially the older people, or, be careful with, the young women with strollers, all full of merchandise they bought. They can't lift it, And I was thinking, maybe we could, and there's only really, 3 areas that are real bad?
4.
4?
Yeah.
It's one on each
It's on the
corner.
curve.
Yeah.
Can we post, volunteers, those young men and women at the, or young men?
And that's something that, because that was the one comment that we heard during the whole event. Everything was positive except, not necessarily negative on that one, but everybody had a comment on those, because for some reason people felt like they were higher this year. And we even had a comment of a lady, she said, I didn't have an issue, but she was in an electric wheelchair, and she said, I had a really hard time, like,
Yeah.
I felt like she was gonna
Get stuck
Yeah.
on top.
flip or
over.
something because she felt unstable. So we definitely have that in our list for.
And
things
others
to
you can do about it because you need it, but if we
Yeah.
could just post a volunteer there.
Yeah, because we posted the sign, but you're right, now people are, they
And especially when you bring in those
Feel it
daycares,
harder.
senior,
Yes.
what's the correct word? Senior
daycares, yes,
Oh.
they're having a lot of issues.
I mean, it just amazes me, like I said, it wasn't until I got injured I realized what they actually go through. you
Yeah.
know?
And these adult daycares, they love to go to those things. I mean.
Yeah, oh, they love it.
Especially Friday.
Oh, and they
we'll have
buy,
them,
they
Yeah.
buy not only for themselves, their daughter-in-laws, son-in-laws, grandchildren, they're the best ones.
And they love it because they're more traditional.
Yeah,
Too.
Mexico.
it brings back
Yeah.
memories when they were little and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
But those are just 2 suggestions that maybe we can,
I think they ran out of
Yeah, thank you.
tortillas and they ran out of all these.
The food is great.
The food was
Yeah.
just great.
We had really good-
Enchiladas and.
We had new vendors for food, so that was good.
And they're there
That's like what
cooking
you're
and
saying.
everything, it's like, wow.
I think that's where the congestion was.
Yes,
in
that's
the
where the
food
food-
area.
Yeah.
It's always the
People get
most
lines.
congested.
I think they had to
area.
wait for the.
We try to, yes, we try to arrange them in a way that we know there's some very popular ones, so we try to like space them out, and we try as hard as we can. We had almost 24,000 people.
oh my God.
One day we'll break the
Amazing.
24,000.
Great.
But
That's a
we'll,
whole town there.
yes, during the 3 days, so.
Very good.
Very good.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I
You
saw
know
some Colombia flags towards the very back.
Yes, so this year we had, and I can jump into Veto's report,
Yeah,
where
I think it might
the
be
sister
better.
cities.
And we'll go back to it.
Not a problem.
Page 12. So we have, in page 12, we have our report, and we had 1.78% more than last year. So we've been trying to break the 24,000 line for a couple of years already, and we'll get there next year. We'll get there. We had 200 exhibit booths. We had more booths than we've ever had. We looked at the space and we said we can fit another one here and another one here. So we put booths where we had never put booths, and it works. We got new vendors. We were able to bring new things. We had vendors from, as you said, Central and South America. So we had Bolivia, Colombia, Ecuador, El Salvador this year that were there. So Chile, no, Chile. So we had different vendors that give also a different flavor to the event.
Great, we're expanding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're definitely expanding.
International.
We had more volunteers than we've ever had. We had 18 Mexican states in our exhibitor. So we survey our exhibitor too, and we ask them, and so it's 546 room nights that we saw from our vendors, and some of them stay after because they also like to go shopping, and so they stay after the event to go shop and experience Laredo. 20 hotels were utilized by the exhibitors. So we had more volunteers than we've ever had. We had 237 on Friday, 238 on Saturday, and 206 on Sunday.
Wow.
So there were points where we had 2-3 volunteers, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, but we had 2-3 volunteers per booth.
I want to congratulate you on getting so many volunteers for this event because, I mean, they make a big difference,
yeah.
a big
Yeah.
difference.
Yes.
You know, because I mean, turn around, there's a volunteer there, you know, to help you with this or that, you know, so, and not to say that you didn't pay anybody, and you know, the amount of money that you save when you have volunteers, you know. It's
So we work with our community development department, and Manuel de Luna, he's in charge of volunteers. And so he did a great job recruiting volunteers this year. It's definitely one of the best years we've had in terms of volunteers.
It was fantastic. I mean, I noticed that right away, the amount of volunteers that you had
Yeah.
every day. I mean,
And
it's
so we, in previous years, what we've done is we do pay for a few because because we didn't used to have this many. After this year, we decided we're not gonna, because we would hire elite employees to cover in case of this. During this year, we have taken that out of our budget because it's not needed anymore.
That's great. There's a lot to say about volunteerism, let me tell you.
Yes. We had sponsors, Falcon, IBC, AT&T, who's an in-kind platinum sponsor, Turisme de Hospitales Mexicoamericanos, Ford Motors, and the outlet shops. We also had the 3 sports teams here with us, the Bucks, the Heat, and the Tecos. I think it was a great opportunity, especially, I think the ones that took most advantage of it was Bucks. They were there the whole time. They were able to raffle season tickets. They were promoting their team. And so I think that was a great opportunity, especially for them, because people don't know. They're still trying to get information. We had the numbers that you see, and this is I underline estimate. We survey the exhibitors on how much they sold, so that's the estimate on the sales tax. We don't necessarily have a hard number, but that's based on a survey, and we hope that they give us accurate numbers on what they're reporting. They all have to report their taxes, even if they're coming from out of the country. Everybody is required to have a sales tax number, and everybody's required to report their taxes.
So Eileen, this number on the sales tax, I mean, those are the products that are taxable that are from here, the sales tax for
Because what they sold.
So anybody
reported.
like that, even the people that were selling, like, let's say, from Mexico.
Yeah. They're all required to have a sales tax, and they're all
But
required.
they pay sales tax?
Yes,
To the state.
yes, they're all required, and Texas State Controller, we know for sure, they're one of the entities that we work with, that they go and they check that everybody has a sales tax number, so when you see the booth, you'll see the number of the booth,
Yes.
and you see information in that, it's like a colorful piece of
So when
paper.
whenever you ask them, how much is this blouse, or how much is this, and they say it's $50, let's say. They
That
give
has
you-
the tax
That includes
So they already included the taxes.
Yeah.
That's what we do, make it easier.
You don't have to be there, you know, for your
Because the way it works in Mexico, they're used to that because in Mexico, even in the groceries, everywhere you go, everything
include
already
everything.
has the tax included. So they're used to, and we tell them when we have our meeting at the beginning of the
Includes your
event,
tax.
we tell them, you have to pay taxes, so make it easier for the customer. Include the tax in the amount, and that way you don't have to be calculating on.
But it's
site.
also psychological that you say, oh, I'm getting this, I'm not paying taxes. You are.
Mhm. Everybody's paying taxes on the
Okay.
bids. One thing that we did this year, and based on your recommendations, is we did a survey. We had two different things going on for our out-of-town visitors. One was the survey, and I have it here. One was the survey, and the other one was an ad. We placed an ad in the newspaper in San Antonio and our Texas Monthly ad, where it said, if you bring this ad, you'll get a free bag, reusable bag. We had a great response with that.
I'm telling you, there's a lot to be said about freebies. I mean,
Yes.
everybody wants.
And we were giving bags, that's it. We weren't giving anything fancy. It was a Laredo, Texas bag, so they could do their shopping. And then we had our visitor survey. So one of our staff members had a great idea of putting a sign, because people were getting in, people didn't quite know what was going on, but they put a sign outside our office, our little office there that said, visitor, out-of-town visitor, check in. And people were following the instruction. They would actually go in and say, we need to check in here.
It was funny hearing like the men go, hey, to their wife, you gotta go in here. You gotta
We had said, and we would also have them fill the survey and we would give them a bag.
Okay.
So that was also what we saw, and here are the results.
Here, just at on the top 10 cities and on the, I'm sorry,
Hotels?
the hotels and their source. Those are the top 10 results. We collected a total of 178 surveys. And, that's, people were coming from San Antonio, Houston, Zapata, Corpus, Hebronville. We did collect, there were 21 people that did say they were from Laredo. And, but I didn't include those in these numbers. And then plus you also had like little cities like Carrizo, we had some people coming in from New Mexico that were visiting relatives. And they came for the festival. And we also, on the survey, and I forgot to bring a copy of the survey, but we asked them if they wanted to be added to our electronic newsletter. And that's something that I'm going to be working on with Ana Reina and Beatriz. So we collected actually 76 emails from people that did say they wanted to have more information on Laredo events, Laredo attractions, what to do in Laredo, any types of promotions that are coming up. They're like, yes, please sign us up. So we're keeping that there as a reference,
That's
and then
good.
Ana has already added those emails to her database.
So this year, it was our first year doing the survey. It was a little piece of paper. For next year, we have all the ideas of how we can enhance it, and we can have our
Don't make it too long because people
Exactly.
don't want
Yeah.
to.
It was basically name, are you staying at a hotel, where are you coming from, and email. And with that, we had issues with people skipping things, so we were like, just put the name of your city if you're coming from out of town.
Yeah,
So,
just
yeah.
give me your zip code. What's your zip
Uh-huh.
code?
Yeah, because you
So-
start to, I always, it's like the email, it's just like, mine is like, so.
So
Anyway.
we we're looking at doing it electronically for next year. We have a couple of stations that we can put on with iPads. And so we'll try to have that for next year. We have enough time to set up everything.
Just like they have when you go in to check at the AT&T center where you walk in
Uh-huh.
and put your
Yeah,
name in.
and it's very simple. And
And then you
it's,
see your
for
name
people,
up
for some
there.
reason, it's easier to do this and this.
Yes.
I wonder if we can get it where, if it's electronic, like where you can log in, like with Facebook, like, you know how with the different apps,
I like check in with Facebook.
and that way it grabs your information already.
Mhm.
You already have that, like with the social media, like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all that
If
other
we
stuff.
decide to do that and they choose to log in through a specific platform, then maybe it can automatically check in as well at the event.
Now, on the third page, it says the source, the surveyed source. Here it says family. Is that where, like, they found out about the festival? So, and you guys were giving out the goodies, like the little bags, like the shopping bags. Maybe we can just do next year, like Laredo, Texas, but on the other side, Sister Cities Festival.
Yes.
Yes, because that
And
way
they
they
go out.
take that with them and they're like,
Good advertisement.
they're walking
Exactly.
advertisement.
So that's something that we also discussed in our post-event meeting, having the logo of the festivals in the back.
Yes.
And another thing is doing souvenirs, because we had a lot, this year we had more than any other year, people looking for something that
Of
has the
Sister
logo of Sister Cities.
Oh, it's
You know, we can do it like
Yeah.
every year, we can change it, like maybe a keychain or something with like Sister Cities 2018, 2019.
So
That
it
way-
becomes a collective one.
Exactly, yeah.
Like
that's
they do
great.
with the Washington birthday celebration, and then they
Yeah.
have a contest, and then they have different,
Yeah.
I think that might be something that you.
So we're looking for next year, we're looking at the poster contest, the artwork contest. We're looking at the electronic survey and the souvenir and or bag with the Sister Cities.
That's great.
So those are three things that we already have for.
It would be a
And the
big,
plan for next
it
year.
would be probably a little bit of a stretch endeavor here, but if we can also come up with a Laredo appreciation, a mini campaign that can be pushed while you're there, it's also that's an opportunity. It's eyes, and it's local eyes as well, because we have talked about this, that, you know, a big part of our issue is Laredo's buy-in into, we have things to be appreciative of, and we have things to be proud of. This is a very good opportunity to push that type of messaging as well. So definitely, when you say incorporate, little tchotchkes, little things for Sister Cities, let's see some more like I Heart Laredo type of things, you know. Just because when you're there, it is something that you feel proud of. You are happy to be there. And so, you know, if you kind of pick up on that energy, it could be really good.
It's obvious, right? The greatest word of mouth is the
Source
greatest
is-
source.
yes.
Yeah.
So,
Now, we're also having people from San Antonio, like, just giving them more information there, like, okay, go try this restaurant, go do this, go do that.
yeah, the max.
Yes,
all
go to
of
the max, go,
those.
have a little Laredo, let's push Laredo forward booth, I guess, call it that.
And we used to have a Laredo booth, but before the number of people coming from out of town were not that high.
Right.
So we decided to get rid of not get rid of our booth, but give our space for a vendor.
Vendor.
And so maybe we can do something different where we have an information location.
Yeah,
This is something that's very informative, because what I see that a lot of people got their information from the newspaper as opposed to TV. I mean, that's really, that's,
Yeah, what we want, what I
Radio.
want to make sure that we specify for next year in the survey, because I was looking at the results and we have newspaper, but we need to take the initiative to be like, which newspaper did you hear
Yeah.
that from? You know, so we just weren't keeping a track of, we were just collecting them and talking and here's the bag and da-da-da-da, like.
yeah, but it's interesting anyway. I think that whenever you have, TV only.
Well, that's why, traditional, I mean, people still want the papers, people still
Yeah,
read
but you're
it.
watching TV 24/7.
Well, Netflix now, you're seeing other shows, you're not.
You're just keeping it in commercial.
Anyway, that's a very interesting survey though.
I'm glad you guys did it. That way,
Yeah.
it starts.
Then
Yeah.
you start getting that, you start painting a picture.
collecting that
Yeah,
information.
no, definitely.
Good
We
job.
appreciate the
But you all should know that there were a lot more people from out of town that didn't complete the survey.
Right.
The ad that ran out of town said, bring this to the festival to receive your feedback.
It didn't require.
Some took the time to do the survey, some said, no, I just want my bag. But just so you all know, there were that many more people.
Well, next year, let's keep account of them as well, just so that you know that someone from out of town
And let's just include in the.
There should be a contract there.
No, it happened.
I'm gonna ask a question. I'm not really familiarized with this, but do y'all get a report, like when people check into the event on Facebook, do you get a report, like a statistics of like where they're coming from, how many, like a general report on that? I wonder if people checked in.
Check-ins.
I check in on Facebook.
No, like not checking on the event.
It's, no, no.
I'm just wondering.
Analytics might come down
that the Foursquare?
to age, gender, maybe share numbers, but I don't know if it would source you as to like region.
Okay.
If there was an analytics report that they could pull
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, no,
Just
no, for
wondering.
checking.
This is just an idea, but it might be more work than it is, but at our store, we have, our logo has a little Mexican, woman, Mexican man, and we have a big sign that says, "I found my treasures at Baskin Pottery Alley," and they can stick their face in,
Oh, yeah.
and we get so many people posted on Facebook, and I thought maybe we could do something with Sister City, and they'll be posting it to all their friends, because they go stick their face in there.
I'm here in Sister City.
Sister City.
We have the
Yeah.
dog, but I think we ran out of space. We had exhibitors.
We used to have a frame,
Okay,
Oh, that's
and people
right.
would take a picture behind the frame. This year, we packed, so the year.
Maybe you can take it outside with the
Outside,
radio
yeah.
stations, because,
Yeah.
you had media people out there. So, I mean, just tell them, just ask them, straight up. I mean, you can obviously, like, oh, okay, can we make this into a package? But also just ask them, like, we want to do something. And most of the time, like, in between remotes and stuff like that, because I know you have 106 there for sure, like, they're not doing much. Like, they're waiting, they have their information, they know what they're doing. So they can engage with some people out there. So I definitely pull it outside. Let's get some visuals out there, because walking up to a party and it looking like a party makes it feel even more exciting
Yeah.
too. So I know that it was warm and it was very windy and it's a little, hazardous out there like that. But if you can pull out some visuals in the front of the building, why not?
Yeah.
And the parking was good. I mean, I didn't find any,
Yeah, no issue.
I mean, there was a lot of parking and, people were coming and going as we were walking in, people walking out. I mean, it's just like
Yeah, there was a good flow.
it was a good flow.
a very good flow.
Let's go back to Joel Vasquez, our sales manager.
Morning, Madam Chair, my report
Page
is
7.
page 7, and one of the things I wanted to highlight, and I didn't mention it, is the Pony Week World Series. It was a huge event. We had over, I think, 106 teams overall that came in. We had teams from Mexico, Puerto Rico, the rest were from Texas. We did have some local teams as well. But in overall, the report, the surveys that we did, we collected a lot of information. I do want to note that I was looking at right now, there's a little typo on one of the hotels, the Marriott. It says 200 and 1,000 room nights, but no, it's not. It's actually 10 and 50 room nights. So we'll make sure to correct that. I just noticed it right now. So on the number of room nights, it's a little bit over 4,000 room nights. It's not close to 5,000 room nights on page 10. So where it says total room nights, it says 4,963. That's actually a typo. That's not correct. It's supposed to be
4,018.
and 18. Yeah.
Where's that one?
In page 10. So if you look at it, page 9, number 15, it says courtyard, and it says 200, and it says 1,000.
It should be 11.
Yeah. So that was the typo that we came up across. So it's supposed to read courtyard, 11 rooms, and it's supposed to be 55. So if you guys could correct that, and I could share that again with you guys. But in total, it's 4,018 room nights. So the other thing that we're doing is, like I mentioned, we're calling up hotels to verify. Obviously, they work with hotelplanners.com. That's something that Pony works, partners with them. So we're trying to get all the different reports, but it was a huge economic impact. I can tell you that there were some issues with one of the teams in Mexico. The coordinator, they booked the hotels with the name of the players, and for whatever reason they didn't put the parents. So we went. I went to the that was in the Red Roof in Compton, and thank God that I was there. CBB was there, so they really showed the support of the tourism, the CBB, and they, I was able to handle the situation, and it was kind of crazy because parents were tired of driving 12 hours in the road and not
There
being in
were
the
kids
room.
coming from Mexico City.
Yeah, so.
Wow.
So by me being there, helping them out, working with the general manager, obviously the hotel didn't have to do anything with it because it was more the coordinator that put the names under minors. And these were 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds.
Well, that helps when you're there to diffuse the whole situation.
Yeah,
I mean,
so it
I
was,
mean, you can get your tempers. And
yeah, so,
And we were able to do that in almost every situation.
Putting out fires.
yeah.
Yes, so we did we made the effort of being there at the hotel and talking to, being the liaison between the
Liaison to the
hotel
parents.
and the teams.
Instead of them talking to each
Yeah.
other. which is
Exactly.
Sometimes you need
Which-
a third.
It was kind of tricky because we were not involved in the contract
Yeah.
negotiation between the hotel and hotel
Hotel
planners.
planners,
That was
yeah.
between them, but
Mhm.
we were trying in every case to diffuse the situation and make sure that everybody was happy,
Walks
both
away,
the
yeah.
hotel and the visitor.
These
Yeah,
people,
because
at the end, they were very pleased, like, man, thank you for being here. I actually gave them my
Same.
cell phone, and they started sending me stuff through WhatsApp, and, we appreciate all your help and your support. So they, at the end, they said the tournament was awesome, so many people really enjoyed it, and it was great for the city. And like I mentioned, we had so many things going on, so it was just crazy for us, going from one event to another, and then.
This was just right after Sister
Yeah,
Cities.
right after Sister
Right after
Cities.
Sister
Yeah.
I know.
So,
had, like-
so yeah, we were really excited, and then the other thing was volunteers, with Manuel, that he's just very new to the department, and being in charge of the volunteers, partnering Nora from our office, Irma and Vero, met with teams from TAMU, from other organizations, so, because I was out on leave for a couple of weeks. And so it was really good. At the end, we had so many volunteers. Everybody was really happy. The people that we walked, because I walked the floor, they would just give me compliments on the event from the valley, San Antonio, everywhere. It's like they would just stop you and say, hey, this is a beautiful event. Thanks for you guys doing this. So overall in itself was really good.
We had people actually looking at the event and that checked in with us from McAllen, from I think Del Rio, San Antonio, and somewhere else, that they were actually looking at the event and how we were running, and New Orleans, how we were running the event. So that was.
They wanted to know how the experts do it.
But yeah, they wanted to have a little bit more insight on how we run.
Well, on that note, I did want to make a comment that we just happened to go down to the outlets for lunch on one of the days that, the teams were in town. And we did hear that Nike, at least, had sold out of some of their merchandise because they had team members coming in, like little odds and ends that they had forgotten that, we need these types of
Yeah.
shorts, whatever, so they definitely benefited. And we saw several families that you could tell they were all in their little team shirts and
yeah.
showing out there. So it wasn't a huge number of people, but they were visible. So, any info that you can give them when they show up about where they can get resources if they need them.
Yeah.
They get a
Probably.
packet,
Yeah.
they actually get a packet, and this year Pony worked with the outlet, so the outlet was a
That's great.
sponsor. And the coaches meeting took
Was
place
at
at the outlet.
Perfect.
Oh.
So all the coaches had to be there
Great.
to,
So they could
to
tell them
sign
where.
up,
Mhm.
exactly. And we provide a packet that Hoy has worked throughout the tournaments, and it has specific information for teams, including where you can buy
Right.
all the
Sports equipment.
sports equipment and all that stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a
Um,
hit there at the outlets, the coaches orientation meeting,
Mhm.
because especially the teams from like Mexico, They brought all their kids, all the parents they wanted to see, because some of them they hadn't been here, others they have, but they hadn't gone to the
And
outlets.
they have a special discount for Pony.
Yeah, they had a
Yeah.
special
That's what I was
discount.
gonna say.
Yeah.
Vera Bradley had a special discount during the whole week.
Uh-huh.
So people walking in with backpacks and
So we saw people, during the coaches meeting, we were there, we had a table. People were already coming in with, nice number of bags.
even coaches with Under Armour, Nike, Biden, Apparel.
And because they have an extra discount.
Yeah.
When they came out on the news, and you could just see the families with bags and bags as they were checking in at the outlet.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then even at the opening ceremony, outlets was giving more bags,
And
more
more
coupons to all the rest of the parents that were there, because really it's only the coaches and a few players that go into the meetings. So they were next to us because we had different tables there in the opening ceremony. And man, those bags were going like crazy, sports bottles.
Yeah.
And, you know, they finished and they're like, I'm like, well, I'm sorry. We don't have any instead. Like, you know, we partnered with them, but, you know, we were giving out fans, we were giving our stuff too, pins and everything, but, you know, it was crazy. Like, they went probably over 1,000, not even in 30 minutes, 1,000 items between bags, sports bottles.
Wow.
It was crazy. Oh my God. I was like, I don't even know where all these people came from, but
There were like probably, what, 8,000
probably
people?
easily.
It was
at the Unity Trade.
completely packed. You
Completely.
couldn't walk, you couldn't
Yeah.
do anything. Kids are there and they're exchanging pins and they're
Yeah.
getting like.
We were even exchanging pins with them too. Because we had a Laredo one.
We had Laredo pins
so-
that they would try to exchange, and they had, we had fans. Hand fans were like the hit.
Oh, that's right.
We had information there, we had,
Yeah.
so we have 3 tables there at the opening ceremony.
That's great.
Yeah, so it was awesome.
Great job.
Thank you. So that pretty much concludes my report. I'm not sure if you guys have any questions.
Thank you.
you,
Thank
Mike.
you for all that you did during this hectic time, I'm sure.
Yeah. I got more white hair, guys.
At least you have it.
At least you have it. I know,
Let's move on to our use in Mexico Market with Cindy Navidad.
Okay, well, I know we've touched on Pony and on Sister Cities. So right before Sister Cities kicked off, we had KI come in from Austin.
What page are you on?
I'm 15,
Page
I'm
15.
sorry, page 15. So KI, and right now when I get back to the office, I'll email you all the links to the segments that were filmed. But what they do is I work alongside Beatriz Delgado, who is our marketing assistant, and she organized the locations, the permissions. I listed them here as Summer Scratch Sandwich Company, Skintology, Vegas Interiores, the outlets. This was the first time that we were able to get KI to come in on Sister Cities Day, and will probably be the last time because no, I mean it was great.
We can't stretch
but
it.
we need staff to work the festival. You know, but they loved it. You know, while they were there at the festival, they were able to interview Eileen, so she can do her welcome to Laredo, and we went back on. We were there Thursday night before everything started, and then we went Friday afternoon so they can get actual footage of the festival itself. And it's, you know, talking to these business owners and having them, you know, speak to the camera and get a feel of, you know, welcoming people to Laredo, bringing them down, and, you know, with having a staycation within the state. You know, Austin to Laredo is just a weekend away, so it's a perfect little getaway. And that was, you know, it's something that has been really beneficial to us. We get a lot of positive comments and feedback on that. And we try to just showcase as many different aspects of Laredo. We do an attraction, we do several attractions, we do hotels, we do the outlet shops, we do San Bernardo, but we've featured Mr. Camina in the past. We have, you know, a couple of the shops. This was Vegas came on and Vegas hadn't been able to participate for a couple of years. The new tapas bar that came in Casa Lopez, which if anybody hasn't been there, I just go, it's beautiful. Skintology Spa participated. The two hotels that we did was Motel 6 on the Loop and Best Western San Isidro. And it was, I think the segments came out great, Eileen worked on getting the final approvals for them, and we hope to continue that partnership with them for next year. We try to just schedule them at times when we can look for them to film either a WBCA event or a birding festival, and this year we were just, I want to try Sister Cities. Because we talk about Sister Cities, but this time we were able to get footage of the festival. It's just,
That's great for
more
us.
relatable. Yeah.
And it's almost a promo piece that we can use throughout the year. And I've seen it in CBS in Austin, they use it throughout the year. And it goes all the way to the hill country. I remember one of the first times because we've worked with them for 6 years, 7? And one of the first times I was in Fredericksburg, and I remember turning on the TV and looking Laredo, our segment of. So it's definitely something that has good reach, and that gives us presence in those markets. Great. Plus social media shareability, because they gave us the links to the videos, so we can also share on social media, and the businesses can share also on social media.
Has Sister City ever been featured in Texas Monthly or Texas Highways?
Yes.
Yes?
And Texas
Texas
Highways,
Highways.
I think goes 2-3 years, no,
Okay.
2 years, 3
It
years?
was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I remember you all mentioned it.
Okay. Well, thank you, the CDD staff, for sending that reporter from Texas Highways to Basket Alley. That was very nice. We got a chance to work. That was very nice. Thank you all. Actually, it's a
You
good
see-
story about Laredo altogether.
Well,
The restaurants, everything.
the problem that happens is that when we're approached, they can't commit that the story's coming out.
Right.
It's just, can we go over there, or, what angle, what's going on? Tell me a little bit about Laredo.
Can you point us to
Yeah,
some-
and if I ask, is this for a particular issue? Well, we can't give you that commitment, because it's a travel writer.
Right, some are
or a
freelance.
freelance
They don't know if they're
writer.
gonna get picked up or not. Or-
And they don't know if it's gonna come out or not. So it isn't until the magazine, either we see it or, our rep tells us like, it did get picked up and it's gonna go in. So we're like,
Yeah, we
yay.
got contacted for, I guess, approval, and the dates and the names and addresses were all correct before they
Yeah.
published it.
That's good.
I said, yay!
Get a lot of exposure. That's nice.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate, very blessed.
So let's move on to our digital marketing coordinator report with Ana Reina.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. My report is in page 16. I work maintaining the social media, the website. I'm working with all the departments, I work with the Sister Cities Festival, with the delegations. We try to contact the delegations, and we can, if you go to the festival, you can see the two cultural presentations. The Ballet Folklorico from San Matertenco y two bandas from San Luis Potosí. I don't know if you see it, but that's a good groups on Friday and Saturday. So we try to contact them, help them with the visas, with the requirements, the process, all this information to come to the organize a tour. So this is the mall, this is the outlet. You have these options to travel. So that's I'm working with that.
Your Snapchat filter.
Eh?
The Snapchat filter.
We have the Snapchat filter too. We
During
promote
Sister
and
Cities.
during Sister Cities. I don't have the results, but maybe the next meeting we can include the results. We have a great response from the Snapchat filter. And that's another option for more the millennials and something.
Yeah, it's the first time that we included that, and it was a filter, Snapchat filter with the theme of the Sister Cities logo, and so that people could take pictures and have the filter.
Nice.
I do see that the Facebook numbers keep increasing, there's a constant growth, so thank you. Great job.
That's great.
Have you ever thought about making just a Facebook page of just Sister City?
We haven't thought about it, but.
So people could
could be a
follow
good-
it and-
Yeah. and
I was
we could-
thinking about it, I think that's very difficult, that is like because that's a lot of coming in this, so we need one person for.
Yeah, because there's
Yeah.
other festivals,
Barbecue.
like most of the festivals I've seen, like they have their own dedicated like social media package. I want to say by package on Instagram, Facebook, and every time they have another event, it's like people follow it. It's like, okay, here we go.
And then about 6 months, they let you save the date,
Uh-huh.
and so you're reinforced. By the time that
And
date
then
comes along,
you collect a database like of all these photos and images that just it's instead of getting lost in
Yeah, checking
transition,
into the
it's all
event.
together.
We can look into it.
and it
I mean,
posts
it's an
pictures of
idea.
previous years,
Yeah.
you know, so it kind of, oh yeah, I remember, and so it's constant, you're being bombarded, not bombarded, but being reminded. And save the date, and save the date, so it's already etched in your
And
mind.
it's coming. and
That
it's
weekend, I gotta go to Laredo, you know,
Mhm.
just something to think about.
We can definitely look into it.
And to help you guys out, by any chance, did you do any live feeds for any of the performances that you did? Like,
Yes.
you did? Okay,
Yes,
cool.
Raina was there for she did live feeds for every
That's great.
performance, including in the Heights.
And I remember one lady come on Sunday and she said, "Oh, I was coming because yesterday I saw the Facebook Live, Instagram Live, so that's very nice. Thank you for sharing all the information." So
Wow,
Yes.
that's good.
And this year we were approached by LTGI and then Little Theater to do just a sneak peek of their summer productions.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Little Theater wasn't able to due to an unforeseen situation, but LTGI was there, and that was also a great opportunity for local productions to get people interested in
That's great.
By the way,
So-
then if you all haven't seen In the Heights, you only, this is the last weekend that it's gonna be, and it's fabulous. I mean, it's incredible. You all need to go. You all need to go. I think it's,
I went to the media night last night with Break a Leg Productions for the
Oh, they also have.
52. Yeah, they
Yeah.
start this weekend.
the other,
The spelling bee, the Putnam spelling bee.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the name of it, but it was cute. You know, they got a great setup. You know, the cast. You know, very talented group of kids. I say kids, they're like young, you know, college kids. But that's going to be opening this weekend at the Center for the Arts, and they're going to be playing for 2 weekends.
And Mary Poppins is also going on.
Mary Poppins also,
in the Heights,
yeah.
so.
but In the Heights, I can tell you because it's just like violent.
Yeah, so they did a little sneak peek, and the idea was also for Mary Poppins. And so that's something that we want to keep, because definitely the productions are getting bigger and better. And Sister Cities is definitely a good place to showcase that. And we're just, now that we know that opportunity is there, we want to like organize it a little bit better so that every production has a chance to come.
Do you guys take on any social media specific volunteers?
No.
Consider. Even if you can interview people maybe a week or 2 out, and exactly that, have real interviews so you know that it's somebody that you can, you know, actually trust and that has an eye for it. Just have them show you their feed, like, you know, what style do you use, whatever, because that could be very useful, because I know that catching every moment or taking photos, it takes time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when I go out and I do it for the radio station, like, a lot of the time, we try to have at least one person that's just all you're doing. You're not worried about anything else, because it is time consuming, prepping the photos. A lot of them can't go out raw. I know you guys know that already. And so, you know, if you could get a couple volunteers that are just dedicated to that, that would be a big help, I think, to you guys, because then it just shares the load. And I know that we talked about also the T-shirts, and adding the tag that you guys have, either
Yes.
Hola Laredo or the,
Yes.
you know, at Visit Laredo, Texas. That way it's just more visible.
Yeah.
And if you incorporate that photo section, like, you know, next year, that would be even
Yeah.
more for you guys.
You can even do the visitors little booth outside to greet people as
Yeah.
they start coming in,
Yeah,
and have them take the picture.
yeah. You can do it outside. Can you have some vendors outside?
The weather is
Because for paletas would be perfect outside.
Yeah,
We tried
it's
that
true.
one
And you
year.
can make some extra money, an extra,
We tried a paletero one year. I wanna say. I talked to
So make some
Mary and see what
extra
the-
income, have a booth outside, because you could capture a lot of people outside, especially for paletas or the little taco trucks.
Because the thing would be, people can't come in with that food.
No, it'd be like on the way out, yeah, that's true.
And it would have to be like something that we're not taking away from
The inside.
the inside.
yeah.
Because if we sell food outside, then we're taking away from.
I don't think
the-
you have
the
any
food
paleta
vendors.
booths, right?
No, I don't think
No,
paleta would be a good
paleta- local.
option.
But you're right, how are you gonna be able to police it going
Uh-huh.
in and out?
Yeah.
Well, I know that when they were mentioning like a family component, maybe that could be
Outside.
pulled outside in the sense that, you know, that little patio, it's usually used as a smoking patio, but there's a gate. And then I know that you guys have set up food, there's been food trucks set up there for like
For
stuff.
Taste of Laredo.
Yeah,
the food
there you go.
trucks.
So if that can be an expansion that you gate off, whatever, but maybe that can be where you have kid-related kind of little activities and stuff and
Bouncy house or something.
something, right? Yeah, because I know that can be a little treacherous also. But yeah, and something in that general area that you guys can block off for kids, because yeah, they do get a little restless with mom like shopping for like 2 to 3 hours, and they're like, and they're only feet as high.
Like a
So
man cave for the husbands.
yeah,
That's why we take a lot of toys, because the mom and dad will buy a toy so that they can shopping.
You want to sponsor? I don't know what. That would be fun. I mean, but you know, like just for that component. I mean, you know, look into it. Maybe.
A kid's or dad's beer garden.
Imagine.
We did
It's so
offer
good.
beer and our signature drinks this year. This is
I saw
something
the
new.
signs.
So this is something that we've never done, offer
Yeah.
beer and we had our signature drinks there too, so.
Nice. Okay, so let's move on to our Monterrey office,
Yes.
with someone, Jimenez and Jimenez.
Yes. They were here for our sister cities. They've been working also with SIL Consultores, this page 19. And they've been working with SIL Consultores, which is a consultant firm that does logistics seminars and workshops. And they bring a few groups every year to Laredo. So Selena and Samuel work hand in hand with them to and Joel also to provide all the information and locations that they need. And we have our regular list of travel agents that they visited during this month to spread the word and keep them interested in Laredo. They also helped a lot with CAREM. CAREM was one of the events that Joel as part of Port Laredo attended. And it's the conferencia, al Congreso Anual de Agentes Aduanales de la República. It's the Agentes Aduanales big conference, and this year it was in Mexico City, so we had a booth as part of Port Laredo. And so Casa Laredo was instrumental in getting everything there and making sure that everything was set, and for Joel and the delegation to attend.
So let's move on to the other reports, the convention center update.
That one is in a separate page. Blasita, yes, she had commitments, so she was not able to be here, but she sent her report. I know on the question of the flag, we spoke about it, and I don't know if there's any other questions. On our inquiries report, page 20, this is the report where we see where people are requesting information from. And we are in the process of moving to a new system that hopefully will provide easier, better, and more complete reports. And hopefully we can get that launched and by October 1st, by our new fiscal year. So,
I'm just gonna go back, I have a little question regarding the tax for the hotel on the ballot that's gonna be running. In, I don't have the answer for this question, but maybe you can help me out. In regards to hotel rates, how do we compare to other cities? Are we a lower rate, or are we a higher rate, or are we like almost an average rate per night?
right now, and what I can tell you is the rates vary depending on the market, depending on the occupancy, depending on the time of the year. So we've seen that our average daily rate has been really good, which means there's a good demand on the hotels, which might be higher than other destinations that have a lower occupancy and they're trying to get people into their destination. So our ADR right now, compared to other destinations, might be a little bit higher, comparable destinations. But it's because our occupancy is higher than theirs,
Okay.
not necessarily because of anything else.
Okay, so if we have an increase in tax for the visitor, is that gonna affect the rate of the hotel? Is it gonna go up?
It might, depending on the revenue management that they.
Because what,
It could or it could.
it all depends, it
Uh-huh.
all depends.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
what worries me, if that rate goes up per night compared to other cities who have a little bit more attractions, is that gonna affect the decision of the visitor staying here or staying an extra night somewhere else? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, that we might hurt ourselves. in
Yeah, we might hurt ourselves in the long run, so,
That's what the hoteliers were saying when they
Yeah.
were talking about the business traveler. So the business traveler then was going to be taxed instead of the visitor, right? The
leisure.
recreational or
Mhm.
leisure visitor. And so that it was gonna impact their business. That's what they were concerned, it was gonna impact their business because.
But they have to come to do their business anyway.
Right.
So it may affect their budgets, but if they have business here, are they not going to stay?
And it could be just in the interim, you know, while they get used to, maybe that year, because you budget from year to year. And so if you know there's an increase coming, you plug it into that.
so I guess that's what, going back to what you were saying earlier, knowing, okay, so we have corporate, our rooms are reserved by corporate contracts,
Correct.
but is it gonna affect our non-corporate reservations? And is that number gonna go down? So, I mean, I guess we won't know until we cross that bridge, but I think to start considering that and have it in the background to see if it's gonna affect our numbers, I think it's important.
What you're saying is it to our benefit to vote for it, to vote for the increase? Is that what you're saying, for the
Yeah.
hotel tax?
Most
Well, we
cities do
can't
have
fund
high,
the convention
high
centers.
tax. Like San Antonio has it, Dallas, Houston, other cities, they have it. That's
A
a
lot of people have
source
problems with
to
it.
generate money
Yeah.
to pay for.
But if you really look at it at $100 rate, it's only gonna be an additional $2 per night. I mean, it's really pennies to the dollar. If you take 2% on $100, or even if you go lower. Because usually those corporate groups have a special rate.
Okay.
So it's not gonna be like breaking the bank.
Well, then.
If they get special rates, gotta be
Well, they
nice,
have to
too.
come
There you go.
anyway,
Any
like-
traffic-
They have to come anyway, and I think we'd also need to look at the numbers and really take into consideration how many nights are being stayed here for leisure and how many are being stayed for business. I think honestly the majority that are going to be business. Business is not going to stop coming. The industry is established. So really, you
If
know.
you want
a
to do
couple
business
don't-
here, you have to come here.
Yeah, it's not,
we
they may
tried
shop
to tell
around.
them
They may have to
that
just
it
shop
was
a little more.
hopefully going to increase their traffic of leisure travelers.
Mhm.
And it was gonna benefit them somehow, but they don't see it. So that's why we were talking, or I mentioned last meeting, that we need to start taking statistics now of what's the
breakdown.
snapshot now, and then compare it so that we can have proof of.
But the general population and that's who's gonna make the decision, it's gonna be
Exactly.
the voters.
Which is
And
why we
whenever you see,
campaign.
that's right, whenever you see increase, Most
They're
people,
like, no.
they're not gonna see anything else.
I think we
And
need
they're not going to go out and find out what exactly this is. And so they tend to vote no. On any increase, vote no.
I think we need to start putting the word out that it's not gonna be paid by the public, it's gonna be by the visitors, and it's not gonna be more than like what you said, like a $2
Yeah, you
increase
just
in
use
rate.
$100 rate, I mean, it's just $2 additional dollars.
And if you look at it, you look at the hotel motel tax, and it's done a lot of good for us here, because it doesn't, you save a lot of your money in the general fund. If you were able, in our case with the Webb County Heritage, that we did the improvement for the museum with hotel motel tax. You paid the debt service from hotel motel, and you're able to do that, and it doesn't impact your general fund. So for the general taxpayer, it would be a benefit to do that, because that saves a lot of money, and there's other projects. I know that the county's going to, looking at the arena, and part of that cost is going to be paid by the hotel motel. They can't put all of the cost, but part of that cost is gonna be through hotel motel.
Do you want to be your spokesperson and go talk to Brittany so that we can start to?
Well, it's true, and I think that, you have to look at the positive. You have to spin it in a positive way, because it's gonna be an increase. No, I mean, you look at the taxpayer, we're trying to save your money by not using your general fund money to fund these things that can be, and then it's an improvement. If the visitor is the one that pays for it, the tourist.
Well, the improvement should be that's gonna come back and give more business to
Right.
the hotels and to
Yes.
the everybody
And you
else.
increase your tourist dollar, you.
Yeah, just turns,
And so it's very important that people realize, that it's not going to impact them directly. It's not. I mean,
Well, and
unless you're gonna be staying at the hotel, but,
When any of us travel, we book a hotel, you look at the rate, you don't
Exactly.
even feel the impact of the taxes
Yeah.
until you pay the bill at the
Yeah.
end. But you're booking the hotel based on the rate, not taxes.
that's right.
I've never asked that, when I call Houston or San Antonio to get a room, I never ask what the tax is.
What's-
And how much of that is, that you're able to take for the state to be able to get that rate? I mean, it's like 6% or
6% to the state.
6% to the state, and from that 6%, they send you this is where we get our numbers here. I mean, it's all.
And do state and federal employees pay the tax? They don't, or is it
Who?
state and federal
And they
employees?
tax exempt.
No, they're tax
That's
exempt.
Okay.
Depending what
From
they are,
some
either it's federal or
taxes.
state.
Most of them are
Education.
tax exempt.
Yeah.
That's where you send your tax ID number whenever you're booking
Right.
anywhere.
That's why this type of information, it's so imperative to have a campaign in place and to push it aggressively. If you don't pre-plan, yes, exactly like you say, they just see increase and everybody panics. The fact is that a lot of our community make decisions based on just as far as they can see. It's like right here, like what's affecting me today. But down the line, this is going to help us. So, I mean, and I just mean some sort of a center in general. The opportunity to pull in more events and whatever, it's going to help us down the line to bring more people.
Are we doing
So-
anything to
Is there a
market
campaign?
this?
I can go back and check with.
Because I can tell you that we're right now, we're
Finance
looking,
person.
with the Webb County Heritage, but to go ask the county to fund the phase 2 of the Viantigua project, and that's developing those properties that are behind the museum right now. And the idea is to increase your tourist dollar, because the more you have as far as museums are concerned, and, we had thought of maybe, doing a mini, La Villita, in that area, where you have shops and, all of these things the amenities, to bring to the downtown area. So you have more things to do. I mean, you go to the museum, and all of these, this increase, the total amount of the project to be paid by hotel motel. We funded the museum, all of that project, it was, I think, over $2 million with hotel motel tax.
I think it's important to let the public know that there's been a lot of improvements in our community that has not been paid by taxpayers, by local taxpayers.
And I think that the city has the same thing, that they've funded the things that are eligible under hotel motel. Tourism, economic development in downtown, all of these things are eligible. They have to be eligible for tax to be paid through the hotel motel tax. So if you look at, and right now, I know that they're having some hearings, the county is to do what to do with the life downs of the arena and whatever they propose. And part of that is gonna be funded through hotel motel. And that doesn't impact your tax dollars, your general fund, which everybody wants to hold on to, because, I mean, there's other things that you fund through cities and counties that you have to. I mean, you're obligated, by statute, to fund. So, this other thing is just money that is being paid by the tourists. So the more money you get in, the more dollars you have for all those projects.
So, that's interesting. Great.
I'm speaking to the choir. Preaching to the choir.
It's venting,
Let's move on to, I have here discussion announcements, update to the ordinance and member absence. I don't
Yes.
see that.
No, it's just an update, verbal update. So as you know, the new ordinance kicked off, and that's why we're meeting here, that's why our meetings are being recorded. But the CVB is one of the cases where the CVB was created by an ordinance. So we have an ordinance that prevails on top of the current ordinance, where there is conflict. So where we meet, if the meeting is recorded, there's no conflict, so the new ordinance prevails. But in terms of absences and how many meetings you can be out without being removed from your seat, that's our old ordinance or our first ordinance prevails.
Grandfathered in.
Yes, it's grandfathered in.
Or grandmothered in.
Yeah. The original CVB ordinance prevails in that sense. And so we go back to counting excused absences and considering the number of absences that we did before as we were working previously. So it will start counting as of this month, because we hadn't counted, because of the new ordinance, we hadn't counted the last couple of meetings.
I don't think that, it's just been one time that I've been sitting on this committee that we hadn't had a quorum.
One time.
That was
Yeah.
in July.
It
It
was
was-
the one for
yeah,
May,
it was
I believe.
June.
May or June. one
Yeah,
of
it was
those.
last.
But we've always had a quorum.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Sorry.
Out of the concern of the committee and us in not losing that quorum and not losing, I mean,
I know there's committees that
the
never
committee,
have made a quorum. Yeah.
we went back to legal and they explained to us that in legal speak that our first ordinance, which created the CDB, that what prevails in the case of the absences and attendance.
So we're good.
We're good.
So now we can notify you if we have anything that,
Yes, so we
Okay.
ask that you notify us so that it can be an excused absence and not an absence, because
There's a difference.
there's a difference in 3 absences with no excuse that will constitute request for removal, which we don't want, so please let us know.
So then just take a look at the top 10 reports, and then I guess we can adjourn after that. Do we have any questions on that? Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Move.
second,
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, you needed to see if I can have 1 minute of your time. Just 1 minute.
Yes, yes.
Start counting.